would like to go first? Sure.
Okay, my name is Karen. I work with Canine Hero Haven. I volunteer, and I have been volunteering with them for 3 years. Part of our mission is to inform people about the canines, the retired military and police dogs. So my first talk will be about the canines. Okay. For 100 years, courageous men and women have protected our country and its citizens. Many were wounded or killed. Since 1775 to present, 1,304,706 have paid the ultimate price in service to their country. 82,000 POW MIAs are now presumed dead. 1,585 are still unaccounted for or missing. 89 of them are Pennsylvanians. Men and women are not the only who have put themselves in harm's way to keep us safe. Dogs have served alongside and often in front of their human comrades in every major confrontation since the birth of our nation. Today, over 2,500 canines serve around the world by standing watch, detecting landmines and IEDs, to charging into the heat of a battle to incapacitate the enemy. Statistics for canines are rather sketchy. During Vietnam, all dogs were just left behind because they were classified as equipment. This is not the case any longer. Dogs are now treated as a valuable and respected asset, a soldier on 4 legs. Military dogs did not become officially recognized until March 13, 1942, when a private organization called Dogs for Defense was established. This program hoped to recruit the public's dogs for the U.S. military war dog program known as Canine Corps. The word canine dog, however, the word canine, can I can't really see. Can we adjust something? Can this go up? Can I still hear it? Okay, because I have to pitch it, then I'm getting a glare. Thank you.
I want a music stand that pulls up higher.
Pardon me?
A music stand that pulls
Can
up
it go up higher? Oh, okay, maybe. I should have looked at that at first.
Still need the microphone, but we can pull that.
Okay. Oh, that's
That help
great.
you?
That's great. Thank you. Now I can see better. Okay, much better. Thank you. Okay, the word canine means dog. However, we now use the capital K, dash, and the number 9 to refer to these dogs. At the age of 8 weeks old, future military dogs are placed in dedicated foster homes in the San Antonio, Austin area. Foster volunteers train and nurture these puppies over a 5-month period. During this time, the puppies are raised in homes with lots of playtime, healthy treats, and given opportunities to socialize with different people and environments. Dogs have a super sense of smell with 10 to 20 times the number of receptors in their nose than humans have. With little or no wind, they can detect intruders using their sense of smell and hearing. Dogs do not need to be close to detect a bomb or IED inside a vehicle. Often, they can detect them from as far as 50 feet away, kind of like from this stage to the doorway. Dogs that are used for sniffing and odor detection are usually sporting breeds such as Labradors, Golden Retrievers, and Chesapeake Bay Retrievers. However, poodles and Jack Russell Terriers are sometimes used because of their excellent noses. German Shepherds, Dutch Shepherds, and Belgian Males top the list for tactile MWDs, military working dogs. German Shepherds are larger and more muscular than the males, but the male's smaller size is perfect for tactics involving parachuting and rappelling. Over the years, the company males, the compact males, have become a favorite of the U.S. Navy SEALs and other elite forces over the world. The average cost of training a canine ranges from $20,000 to $40,000. Preparing a dog to be an explosive detection dog may run around $150,000, which is the cost of a small missile. All military dogs and their handlers are trained at the 341st Training Squadron located at Lakeland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. Typical training scenarios might include having to detect explosive in a caravan of 10 or more vehicles with food decoys to distract. Under these conditions, a trained detection dog would be able to detect explosives in under 2 minutes. Only about 50% of the dogs in the MWD program make it through the training. Every military working dog is also an NCO, non-commissioned officer, always one rank higher than their handler. The NCO status was customarily given to prevent handlers from possibly abusing or mistreating their dogs. Until recently, field medics have not been able to immediately treat MWDs in the line of duty. This has changed. Modern medics are taught that a dog is essentially a human with a different anatomy and thus treated the same as a human. The first recorded use of canines in combat was by Aliatus of Lydia against the Cimmerians around artillery, helped the wounded in more than 17 battles, and once helped capture and imprison a German spy. Stubby was trained to salute. Stubby now lies in rest at a National Guard armory in Connecticut. The most decorated MWD in World War II was a German Shepherd Collie mix named Chips. Among his greatest movement was the time he broke from his handler and jumped into an Italian machine gun nest during the invasion of Sicily. Chips would assist in the capture of 10 Italian soldiers. Chips was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, 8 battle stars, and the Purple Heart for bravery. In 1946, Chips died in the arms of his beloved friend, Robert Conroy. Legendary Rin Tin Tin was actually a rescued war dog from World War I. Found in France, following a bombing, Rin Tin Tin would go on to star in 30 movies during the golden age of silent pictures around the 1920s and 30s. Today, there are approximately 2,500 canines in service around the world. The draft has not ended for them. They are typically held in service for about 8 years. Then they retire out. Only 10% of the handlers adopt their dogs. This leaves many retired canines in search of forever homes. And this is what Canine Hero Haven's mission is. Okay, our mission statement is, Canine Hero Haven is a nonprofit 501c volunteer organization. It is dedicated to serving the military, veterans, and first responders by providing working dogs a home for their retirement. The canines employed with the military are the best at what they do. They are expected to work in the toughest of environments and face the harshest of conditions. At any moment, they are expected to selfishly give their life to save others. Canine Hero Haven helps transition the dogs to retirement. If at all possible, the dogs are reunited with their handlers, and we have had 17 handlers come back to claim their dogs. We give preference to provide veterans and law enforcement with retired working dogs in honor of their sacrifices. We strive to educate the public on the roles these dogs have in our world, their level of training, and their dedication to keeping us safe from danger. We work hard to find good homes for the dogs in our care. And at any one time, we have about 60 dogs in our care, which is like 60 pictures up there. At any one time, we have 60 at our rescue. We also work hard to provide dignity and respect to the dogs that require additional work and time to prepare them for their retirement. And a little bit about our history. In August 2015, we started adopting retired working dogs into retirement homes with veterans. In September 2015, 10 kennels were added to the side of the house so more dogs could be placed into forever homes. Since then, we've added another 12 kennels outside, which brings our total outside kennels to 22. A foster program was implemented to help transition our heroes from kennel life to home environment. To date, we have placed over 350 dogs in homes and reunited 17 with their handlers. Unfortunately, not all of our dogs will ever leave our rescue. They unfortunately hold on too greatly to their jobs and can't let go. But they will have a home with us forever. Okay. And at this time, I'm going to be eventually introducing you to one of our dogs that has been recently been adopted by a family. But first, I'd like to tell you about their first dog. I was at a fundraiser. I know, chokes me up too. I was at a fundraiser, and this one dog we had with us was called Norris. Norris would see people coming and petting him and then go, and see people coming and petting him and go. And I looked at him and I said, Norris, I said, there's going to be somebody out there for you. And pretty soon, my friend's daughter and her future husband-to-be comes up to the fundraiser that we had. And it was an immediate attraction. I do believe I witnessed a miracle because Norris had such a strong attraction to Jason, and they took him for a walk. The two of them took him for a walk. They took him for a ride in the truck, and then they went home and got their two dogs and introduced, and everything was great. Everything was wonderful. And Norris was adopted about a year ago. Unfortunately, his time with them was short. Norris didn't last even a year, but he had a good life. He was very loved and very well taken care of. And they've recently adopted another dog. The dog's name is Smoley, and Smoley is also a very good dog. And at this time, I'd like to introduce you to the Alberts. Both Norris and Jason were in Iraq and Afghanistan, and Norris was in Iraq and Afghanistan. And now this is their dog, Smoley.
I walk. Is it on?
Yes.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Karen, for that. What Karen did leave out of that is Karen was our wedding, or Norris was our wedding gift from Karen then. Norris was an amazing dog. He really was. Any room he walked into, he put smiles on everybody's faces, everybody's. And he was a fighter to the end. Our vet had to tell us that, he said, these dogs are so stoic, they won't show us they're in pain anymore because they don't want to let us down. So it was very hard to make that decision to let them go. So later on, a couple weeks later, we ended up calling Ann and said, we need another Norris. We knew we were never going to get another Norris because he was unique, but she gave us Smoley. So let me go back. I'll tell you a little bit about me. Like Karen said, I did a tour in Iraq, I did 2 tours in Afghanistan, and I did a tour over in Kuwait. During these tours with these dogs, we primarily worked with 2 different types of dogs. When we were in Iraq, our biggest mission was clearing missions. We'd go through these little villages, and we'd clear the Al-Qaeda out. These dogs became our best friends during that. The dogs we primarily used were patrol explosive detection dogs. These dogs would lead the way. We'd take our squads. They were the first dogs to go. We'd come upon a house, a little hut. They're the first dogs in this hut. As they entered, they'd smell around the door frames. They'd smell in the house. If there was an enemy combatant in there, they would take the combatant down and hold them for us. They would also let us know if there are IEDs. IEDs, as you know over there, are the biggest killer of the U.S. troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. Still to this day, there's times we'll be driving and a tire alongside the road at any given time. Sometimes it doesn't bother me. At other times, I break out into a cold sweat because it was those little things that we take for granted over here, a litter, they'd killed so many of us over there. And it was these dogs that were able to be walking down. We'd be in these villages, going down these little corridors. They'd alert to us, that little change of behavior, they'd sit. They wouldn't sit right on it, but as soon as they sat, we knew we better start searching, that there's something in that area that could do a lot of damage to us. We also used them, like I said, there's the patrol explosive detection dogs, and then there's just EDDs, explosive detection dogs. These dogs are primarily used at our camps, our FOBs. They're used over here in the States. They're used at our sporting events. They're explosive dogs. They're not trained in the patrol work, but they're trained to pick up explosives. That's what Smoley does every now and then. I still work them. I still train them because once it's in their system, they feel lost without doing it. So I'll go ahead. I brought with me today to show you guys and demonstrate to you with them. I have an expended flashbang, a concussion grenade for anybody that was prior service or law enforcement, and I brought a box of ammo. He picks up on both. The smallest amount he'll pick up on. He is retired. He is older now, but he's still, we hide it somewhere. He'll sit. Like I said, he'll let us know. He might not sit right on it, but he'll sit in that area, and then we'll have to search for it. These dogs are amazing. What Ann does with Canine Hero Haven is amazing. To have a dog from overseas, it's combat vets, you come back with like the invisible injuries. Well, so do these dogs. And it's not, there's no research. Nobody knows what to look for in a dog. Why these dogs? What are their signs of PTS? What do they show? We don't know. I could tell you this, we call them the monsters in the skies. They don't like fireworks. He doesn't like thunder. Doors slamming. He'll get hypersensitive right away. He'll start shaking. He goes on point. It's amazing though. There's times when I'm having an off day. Norris was the same way. Me and Smoley are like best friends. He's a hit. I take him everywhere I go with me, basically. He makes being in larger crowds for me a lot easier. One of the things that you realize when you come back after some tours is you don't like to be in large crowds in big areas. It's just an uneasy feeling, you know. But being with him allows me to do that. And if it wasn't for Ann and Canine Hero Haven, I never would have found him. I never would have found Norris. Ann does amazing work for these dogs. She really does. I ask that all you look at their Facebook page, look at the Instagram, canineherohaven.org, check out the website, look at the stories of the dogs that have been adopted, what they do for their families, and look at some of the dogs that will never leave Ann's little sanctuary, her little kennel. Those dogs there are amazing as well. But they're dogs that they either have aggression issues, they don't trust people. Like I said, we don't know. They come back, their tour is over with, they're a number. You know, you have a contract working dog and the military working dogs. And they're a number, they're sent back home. AM Canine is like one of the big ones that trains these dogs. Ann takes them from AM Canine in, and then finds adopters for them. But she takes them, she vets them, she spends time with them, she finds their quirks, and unlike any other kennel that you could walk into the kennel and say, well, I want this dog because it's pretty, she doesn't do that, or she kind of doesn't allow that. What she does is she takes the application after it's filled out, and she'll put the best dog that she has with you that'll fit your family dynamics at that time. Whether it's children, you have babies around the house, or you just might be, at your age of retirement, and you just want a dog that's going to be a couch potato and lay down with you. And she makes sure she pairs you together with the best dog that's suited for you. The work she does is truly, truly amazing. And I'm very thankful for Ann and for Canine Hero Haven, and I'm thankful for these dogs. These dogs have saved so many lives, and I'm thankful for Ann for saving these dogs that otherwise may have been euthanized and just left go because, like she said, they were considered a tool at one time. They were considered equipment, but we've seen how important these dogs are. So, anybody have any guess what kind of dog Smoley is? Go ahead. Not a German Shepherd. Go ahead. Not a Dutch Shepherd. He's a Belgian Mal. Yep. They're very confused with German Shepherds. They look pretty close, but like she said, they're smaller dogs. There's a saying out there, we used it overseas. You see it on shirts and stuff now. Even German Shepherds need somebody to look up to, But yes, he's a Belgian Mal. These dogs are amazing. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions about them? Yeah. Anywhere between, it's between 6 and 9 years. Usually the 8-year mark is the end, depending on what they're doing. So then they'll retire them. Anything else? Yeah.
How long does it take to train them?
To serve? 2 years. It's a 2-year training, like she said in hers. It's for these type of dogs, you're looking anywhere between $150,000 to $200,000 that's invested in training these dogs. These dogs are trained a lot differently. A lot of people think of training and they think of training them with dog treats, right? Yeah, they're not, because training these dogs with treats, you imagine how heavy they'd be, and that kind of defeats the purpose of a Belgian Mal. They're very toy-driven. Like himself, Smalls. See, he loves it. You want it? You want it? Go ahead. Very toy-driven. Smalley here. Good boy. Yeah. So they're toy-driven. Like I said, it takes 2 years, and the training's constant. It doesn't end at the 2-year mark. These dogs, they try to keep them with the same handler. Usually doesn't work out that way. They'll have different handlers throughout. But that handler and the dog are constantly training, constantly working together. They live together. That was another thing that was nice about these dogs overseas. When we were at our FOBs or in our different camps, dogs are supposed to be in their kennels by policy. How many times do you think the dog actually slept in its kennel? All right? It was our little piece of home, There's been guys that had to sleep on the floor because the dogs took their cots. It happened, and you didn't kick the dog out of the cot. All right? But it really is amazing what these guys do. There's a book out there. I recommend a book. It's called No Ordinary Dog. That book was written about Cairo. Does anybody know who Cairo was? What mission Cairo was on? Cairo was the dog that was part of the Bin Laden raid and went on that. Great dog, explains to you their story, the training they go through. I recommend it if you like to read. It's a good book. But like I said, none of this, I wouldn't have him, I wouldn't have had Norris if it wasn't for Canine Hero Haven. What they do, the things they do, the time she spends with these dogs, it's amazing. It really is amazing. I don't have words to describe to anybody what she does for these dogs. Yes?
Do you know how long Smalley was at Canine Harrisburg?
Smalley was only at Canine Hero Haven for a little less than a year before I got Smalley. Now, Norris, our first dog, he was there for a couple years. Ann told me he had aggression issues. I have to take her word for it because I never seen it. So they told me he was an aggressive dog when she first got him. So he stayed there with her for about 4 years, 3 or 4 years before I met Norris and we met Norris and we took Norris home. Like I said, I would never be able to tell you he had an aggression issue. He was the kindest, gentlest dog, and that was because of the work that Ann put in with them. She takes these dogs out. When she goes out to the different events she does like this, she takes the dogs out. She socializes them. She gets them with people. Some of these dogs never got that. You got to realize when these dogs are working, they're kept to a very strict regimen. Like I said, policy for these dogs overseas was to be in a kennel. We broke it. But back here at home, most of them are kenneled when they're not working. It's how you keep that drive in their head that they constantly want to work. Yes?
When a dog is returned to his handler, that's a happy reunion, right?
Yes.
Is it often the case that the handler is also recovering from some level of PTSD?
Oh, yes, yes.
So the return of the dog is part of that recovery effort,
Absolutely.
not just the dog.
Yes. Yep. It benefits both parties in that. It's you see things over there, and these dogs and the handler are partners. You know, they go through thick and thin together, and they experience things together that you can't come home and talk to your significant other about. They don't understand. They can listen. They could, show empathy, but they'll never understand what it was like to be over there, to see or to go through what they went through. So to reunite a dog with his handler, it's amazing. It's like that long lost friend that you didn't see. Because like I said, when they separate them, they put these dogs on a plane and they fly them back home. And some of the handlers still have a contract they have to, work out. Or they're assigned another dog. And even being assigned another dog, for some handlers talking to them, they'll tell you that, they might have 3 dogs, but maybe it was the second dog that they bonded, they clicked, they connected with. And that might be the dog they want back, So, yes? No, not for military dogs. Military dogs are, one of the biggest dogs that was Cairo was one. That was going to be the only one that the military was going to keep just because of the mission it was on. They were actually going to make him change Cairo's name after he adopted Cairo. But they're adopted out, and once they're adopted, and they're either adopted to the handler or Ann takes them or any of us, they're just another dog then. The military kind of discharges them, and they're gone on their way. Yep. Yes? What? They do. Yes, they do. Their anxiety is you see it just kind of like you see it in us. They'll shake. He'll start panting. You especially see it, like I said, when the monsters in the sky come out. But they do. They go through anxiety. His relief is he'll either cuddle up on a couch with me or we'll go play ball. But yep, they develop anxiety, PTS, just like we do. Any other questions? Yes.
Why is the percentage so low of the readopting?
The dogs themselves, you got to realize these dogs are only, so from the time they're born for about 8 years. Your average military contract is 4 years. And if you're a handler in the military, you're probably re-enlisting and you're going to continue to do it. So that's why the percentage is that low. The dog can't stay that long. Yep. Yes?
So the family is not today
Yep, the dog, like I said, she has, I think she's at 60 dogs now that will never be able to be adopted out.
She has 25.
Oh, 25 that?
But she has 60 on. at
Oh,
one time.
60 on,
And probably
okay.
have 20 or so that will probably never get a home because of issues, unless they like ignore, calm down for the years. And
Yeah.
sometimes they do get adopted out eventually.
Yes. And if they never get adopted, they'll spend the rest of their life with her there. Yes. Yep. Oh, they are. Yep. They are. Any other? Yes. Well, you have to be 18 to join the military, and if that's what you want to do, 18 years old. Yep. Yes. The dogs? They do, yes. They will present them with certain medals, depending on what missions they're in. Yeah, they'll give them medals. Yep. Anything else? Oh, yes, and medical bills for these dogs. That's another thing Ann takes on for the dogs that she's waiting to be adopted, or some of these dogs are retired because of medical reasons. And it's not like us. If the military lets you go for a medical reason, the dogs don't have a VA to go to. They're let go, and whoever adopts them, like when Ann takes them, she's now responsible for all their medical bills. She has dogs that came with hip issues, joint issues, you name it. If we have it, the dogs could get it. Norris, for example, he ended up with a cancer that they believed, our vet said he never seen it when they took his spleen out. They believe it came from Afghanistan. It was something he's never seen before. But Ann has to front all those medical bills, and she makes sure they're vetted once a year. She has a dog there now, Canine Brando, I believe it is. Just came. He had back surgery. Brand, it was a Brand, Canine Brand, had back surgery. The department that Canine Brand came from, obviously the dog couldn't work for him no more, so they put it up for adoption, and Ann took the dog. And now this dog is actually, I think he's still in the vet, he's still hospitalized, going through rehabilitation. It's like $124 a day. And Ann fronts that herself because Ann does not believe in euthanizing these dogs because of what they've done for us. If it's something the dog will recover from, Ann will do whatever she can to make sure the dog's recovered, well taken care of, and treated. Medication, she has dogs that have seizures, constant monthly supplies of medication, the food, the glucosamine, the supplements for their joints. Some of her dogs are older. You know, she has dogs that are 12, 13, 14 years old. Yes?
She gets no compensation from our government.
Yes, the government does not pay anything. Yes, she has to. Everything she does is through fundraisers, donations. That's everything. Food, medication. Yes? Can they be Army dogs? Usually no, just because of the training and the type of work that's required of them. So, and if something happens to them where they lose one of their legs over there, they'll just retire them out. Yep, but nope. Anything else? Any other questions? I could do a little demo. Oh, yes. Sure. Yep, if you just want photographs, you just want to play with them, pet them. Yep, that's all allowed. I'll do a little demo now. I'll have her hide a flashbang. Then I'll show you how his behavior changes. Like I said, what he'll do is he'll sit. It might not be right where she puts it. It'll be in that area. They could smell this from a distance. So when he's searching, he might sit, and then it's our job to find it. He's going to let us know it's there. You find it now. There are two. We have business cards up here, the Canine Hero Haven business cards. Like I said, check it out. It's a great organization. They're on social media, Instagram, Facebook, their own webpage. Check it out. And if you're interested in adopting one of these dogs, her application is online as well, too. Yep, it's an expended flashbang. It's not an actual bomb. Sure. Nope, nothing. It was actually President Clinton. Up until Clinton, these dogs were left overseas. When they brought them back, when they went over, they left them over there. President Clinton actually signed into law that these dogs need to be returned to us just like we return every other piece of equipment. Yep. Just one for right now, Stace. Yeah. Los. Oop. One thing I didn't touch on with these guys either is most of his commands all his commands are in actually Dutch. So yeah, all his commands are in Dutch. His sit is seats, right? Down is off. Stay is blijven. And here is here. They're all, his search command is zoek. That's his command to search. So, you ready, Smalls? We're going to find it. We're going to find it. Come on. Ready? Come on. Zoom. Zoom. Come on. Zoom up. Come on. Zoom. Come on. Zoom. Good boy. I'm gonna hide that. You can hide it. Like I said, he's gonna be 8 years old. As long as they weren't exposed to anything, no other type of trauma, between 10 and 13 years. That's about it. What's it? Nose. Zoom. Here. Zoom. Go ahead. Zoom. That's the canister. Good boy. That was my fault. I didn't think I'd walk around the canister or anything on it, so. Let's try it again. Close. Good boy. Good boy. Ready? Ready? We're gonna find it. We're gonna find it. You ready? Come on. Ready? Come on. Zoom. 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 Somewhere in this area? Underneath the seat. For me, I spent 20 years in the Army. Smoley was in for 4. Okay? Yes. What's that? All their commands will vary. One of the biggest reasons they do that is most people won't, it's like a security tactical type thing. So when these commands are being given to the dogs, most people won't know what they're talking about. That's the biggest, like you'll hear Dutch is a big one, German, they've actually used French, but it's a security and a tactical thing, so nobody else knows what we're kind of telling these dogs. Yep. Any other questions? Yes? I'm sorry, what was that? Do they beg? Well, yes and no. Not as much as some regular dogs do, but they do. Yes?
Like for the dogs that you have, when you adopted out after how long does it take you to kind of train them to be adopted? If you know what I mean, between retirement and adoption, like is there an average?
It varies by dog, so there's not an average we could give you. Some dogs come in and they're ready for adoption after they're vetted and they're cleared medically, and she's ready to adopt them. Other dogs come in and it takes a little bit of time to work with them and get them used to being around other dogs, children. That's why I said when you fill the application out for Ann, she'll pair you with the best dog for your family dynamics. Because some of these dogs aren't used to being around little kids. Norris, for example, his pet peeve, I couldn't grab his collar. If I went after his collar, he would turn on me. That was his pet peeve. But Ann told me that. I knew that, and that's things that Ann picks up, and she'll let you know that. Some might not be allowed to be around little kids. It's just, these dogs are prey-driven dogs, and she makes sure that the dogs aren't going to be around the little kids, or if you have a cat in your house, you know. She does an amazing job picking out those little quirks and putting the dog with the right family. Yep. Oh, no, go ahead.
What you said about that they extend their dogs, like when they're overseas, like are they generally like not? You only have one dog with your group, or they're
When you're going out on patrols, it's one dog with you. You might back at your fob or your camp, there'll be multiple dogs. You'll have dogs that like Smoley's an EDD. He stayed at checkpoints. He never went on patrol. Norris was a patrol dog. Norris would go out with us on patrols. Well, not me, but he would go out with his group on patrols. And basically, he went everywhere his handler went. Yep.
Jason, thank you so much for
Yes. No, absolutely. Yes.
If anyone would like to get a picture with Smoley, if you want to go out to the narthex,
Sure.
Smoley, I think will love doing that.
We will.
Thank you all for joining us, and remember Canine, they're making New York for you.
Yes, please, thank you. Come on, Smalls.
Thank you all.